Power Rangers had a dark side? I didn't even know that. All I did was just watch the show as a kid and just had fun with it. Did martial arts. I didn't know it had a dark side, but whatever. Hey guys, today, we're going to talk about Hollywood Demons, Episode 3, The Dark Side of Power Rangers. This documentary was something else. I mean, there was some stuff in there that I kind of already knew about, more so through like research and seeing stuff online, and also just looking up other things on other sites and everything and whatnot. So a lot of the stuff that they were talking about wasn't too much surprise to me, as far as like how much the cast was paid regarding working on Power Rangers, on the set of Power Rangers. So that wasn't too much of a surprise to me. I didn't realize that until I got older and was like, wow, that's crazy. But other than that, I mean, it was, a lot of stuff was very interesting. Like, what I found, one of the most interesting things I found was that Audrey Duvall's intake on filming Power Rangers, in which she was the first Yellow Ranger that did the pilot episode. And I remember as a kid when I watched the pilot episode of Power Rangers, like it was like, oh, it's a never before seen of episode of Power Rangers, and I was like, oh wow, okay. I was like, who was that? That's not Trini. That's not, you know, Tweed Trang. But so it was interesting to hear her intake on her experience on Power Rangers. So I found that pretty interesting, and it really was, you know, where, you know, she just wanted to get a little bit more money, you know, in order for her to move and everything, and just more money for being on Power Rangers. Unfortunately, it didn't work out like that, but that was in the past. You know, things move on, people move on, the show goes on. Another thing too was seeing Ricardo Medina's Jr.'s incident where, you know, we all know what he did and everything. So it was good to see that side and more of what happened and everything. Like, I heard about it, but I wasn't following too much about it. I just heard about it, and that was it. So that was pretty interesting. They also talked about how during the first season of Power Rangers, where how they cast the Black and Yellow Rangers, like they cast the Black person as the Black Ranger and the Asian person as the Yellow Ranger, how it was a mistake. But and from what I saw online from the actor himself, Walter E. Jones, that it wasn't a mistake, it was a blessing. So I thought that was cool. I thought that was cool that he said what he said about that. So, you know, props to you, Walter. So like, he was just blessed to be on the show, be an inspiration to a lot of kids growing up, including myself as well, you know, where like, hey, I see somebody that looks like me that's on the show of Power Rangers. So, but in this case, regardless of the color, it will still be an inspiration for me. Like, and I'll just add this in. It was an inspiration for me where I believe the season where I saw, you know, a person of color became the Red Ranger, Power Rangers Turbo, where TJ became the Red Ranger. So I thought that was pretty amazing. I mean, I was like, wow, that's something else, and it was amazing. So that was one highlight of Power Rangers that I enjoyed as a kid. But back to Hollywood Demons. So I think another thing too that was pretty interesting was talking about JDF's passing. The late Jason David Frank, who played Tommy, the Green Ranger, and he played the White Ranger. He played the Red Zeo Ranger. He played the first Red Turbo Ranger. He also played the Black Dino Thunder Ranger, and also he portrayed Lord Draken for a comic book series. So yeah, some things I found interesting about that was how, like, of course, his unfortunate passing, and the fact that, like, some of the people on set who worked on set, and I guess including one of the stunt coordinators, was aware of what was going on with him at the time, and, you know, I guess handled his predicament a lot differently than how anyone else would have handled it, in which if he was going through a lot of what he was going through, like, he should have gotten a lot more help, in which maybe that person or people that was aware of his situation, of his predicament, they would have worked with him, they would have helped him, and eventually, you know, hopefully he would rid himself of, like, I guess, let's say, all these demons that he had on his mind that was just in his head and everything. So for that, I found pretty interesting as well. And also, it was a good thing to see, like, a lot of like Rangers, or a lot of the actors that were Rangers on set from different seasons. That was pretty good. And I can actually say that I've had the pleasure of meeting just about all of them, except for, I think, Sierra Hanna, in which she played the yellow Megaforce Ranger. Well, that was a brief moment. I believe it was like on an elevator during a convention a few years back. But for the most part, everyone else, it was interesting seeing, like, people like Nakia Burrese, in which she played Tanya, the yellow Zeo Ranger, and the first yellow Turbo Ranger, and Jason Font, who played the red Time Force Ranger. So, I mean, and I was like, oh man, like, I met these guys. So it was pretty interesting. And then, you know, when, like, when Nakia was talking about her time on the show and a lot of things that she's been through and everything, you know, I really felt that, in which, like, wow, like, and I guess because, you know, like, seeing stuff online and all that, I was like, wow, that I could see that. And it's funny that I used to watch these guys when I was young, like, because she was on Power Rangers Zeo. So as I'm watching Power Rangers Zeo, and then Turbo, Power Rangers movie, and then Power Rangers Turbo, I was like, okay, this is good. And then seeing the abrupt change in actors and actresses, that was interesting. And I'm like, well, what happened there? And then as I get older, I learned to realize that they were replaced without them knowing. And I was like, wow. And then, like I said, just seeing some articles and also seeing other, like, online videos and everything, just realizing, like, wow. Like, and then, you know, I'm hearing, like, a whole bunch of stories regarding a lot of the actors' departure from the show, from the franchise of Power Rangers. So it was something. It was something else. And I'm glad I was able to catch that episode on Max. It's now streaming on Max. I believe it's episode 3 of Hollywood Demons. So if you want to see like anything regarding Power Rangers as far as what went on behind the scenes, behind the camera, go watch it. It's pretty interesting. And of course, you know, for some folks, if you want to preserve your childhood, then I understand that, you know, you may or may not want to watch the show, but I say, you know, as someone that grew up on Power Rangers, where like I was, and I guess I'm gonna be showing my age here. I was about 8 years old when the very first season of Power Rangers came out. So, so for someone like me looking at this, like I felt like I was there. Like I was like, wow, like I was kind of part of history of Power Rangers, but just from a fan perspective. Also, another thing too that wanted to point out that when Nakia talked about what happened with JDF, how she found out, it's pretty interesting because I believe that was the weekend where my wife and I went to go meet her, and the very next day I woke up to a phone call from one of my close friends that, you know, that JDF was no longer with us. And I was like, wow, all that happened within the same weekend. Like, it was great to see her and Catherine Sutherland, who played the second Mighty Morphin Pink Ranger. So it was interesting. So I was like, wow, like, so as she's talking about this, I'm literally like living it. Like, I'm like, yo, I was there. I was there when, you know, when all this was going on, like hearing about it, you know, and also meeting them. Like, I was happy to meet her and Kat, but then also finding out about JDF. So it was pretty interesting. But that's my take on Hollywood Demons, episode 3, The Dark Side of Power Rangers. If you have any comments regarding this, or with your thoughts on that episode of Hollywood Demons, comment below. And also, don't forget to like and subscribe if you want to follow me in more of my adventures. My next video, I'm going to talk about Legend of the White Dragon. Just my intake on this, how I feel about this, and when is this going to be released. So take care, and see you on the next video. Thank you for watching this show.